murderer is here. And will stay here.
Watching the Kenneth Branagh-led adaptation of Death on the Nile, I knew two things. One, I knew that there would eventually be a murder. And two,
Someone is dead.
I knew that Perot would come along and solve that murder. That's just how it works.
I love people to hear me bring the solution to a crime and say, see how clever is Hercule Poirot.
But what I wasn't expecting from this Agatha Christie remake was a lesson in the afterlife.
I have immortal longings in me.
It is not just concerned with life and death. This film is concerned with death and then life again.
It's bad enough to be married for one lifetime. To be side by side for eternity is inhumane.
But at its heart, it is mostly about love.
Do you have any idea how love works?
Love. It is not safe.
When you love someone, you love them through all their moods and changes over time.
Hi, I'm Kevin Harris, and I help people understand themselves by helping them understand the stories that resonate with them. One of the keys to this movie is the setting, and I don't just mean that it took place on a boat, but that it was specifically in Egypt on the Nile River, the same river where Moses performed miracles, and the same river that the ancient Egyptians believed upon death would take you into the afterlife. The movie begins with a dance between two very in love and engaged people.
More love, more understanding every day of our lives, and that's all.
Jackie and Simon. Then another woman, Lynette, is introduced to Simon, who almost immediately falls in love with her and breaks off his engagement to Jackie.
Jackie just didn't exist for me anymore. From hello, I just couldn't imagine any other path but by her side. And lucky me, she felt the same. I could have punched the sun.
Instead, you broke your engagement.
Jackie is understandably hurt and follows them wherever they go, including a honeymoon where eventually a murder occurs. I can relate to Jackie. I haven't murdered anyone, but I have been in love and I have been hurt.
How's Lynette?
And I have felt resentment towards the new happy couple. The two women, Jackie and Lynette, have a history that goes back to a school play.
Antony and Cleopatra. I was Cleopatra until the teacher came a week before opening and decided to give my part to Lynette.
The Queen of the Nile.
In that story, Cleopatra loses the man she loves, and so, in the end, she kills herself using a poisonous snake while anticipating how she will soon meet Antony, her husband, again in the afterlife. The theme of the afterlife continues.
Cleopatra, of course.
As they tour Abu Simbel, a historic site comprising two massive rock-cut temples.
Did you know that the wives of dead pharaohs were buried alive with them? They must have been locked in screaming.
There are many myths and things that we do not understand about ancient Egyptian rituals.
But I bet there was one who was willing and couldn't bear to be parted.
But we do know that they had a strong belief in the afterlife, and that their soul, or Ka, was expected to live on and eventually return to their bodies for resurrection. This is why they so carefully wrapped the bodies as mummies to preserve them, and even anointed their mouths, etc., to restore their senses. They believed that their relationships, including marriage, would continue on beyond death do us part. A phrase that I was surprised to learn is not found in Scripture, but has become a tradition of modern wedding ceremonies. The ancient Egyptian temples were referred to as houses of eternity, but marriages like these, that are only promised so long as you both shall live, are not intended to continue on beyond death, into the eternities, walking like the Egyptians did.
Enchanté, monsieur.
My congratulations and my gratitude, madame.
Instead, these marriages, these people, the scriptures tell us, at the resurrection, they will neither marry nor be given in marriage, but they will be like the angels in heaven. And so it seems fitting that a wedding celebration, wanting to be eternal and approved of by deity, would take place on the River Nile.
We're all going. No stragglers. You too, Louise. You're with us.
And include a tour of the mansion of the gods. Perhaps it is just me, but I've noticed a fascination with the afterlife in today's popular culture, and even relationships that continue on indefinitely.
And I will always be with you.
To love is to take a risk.
It's love. It's not a game played fair. There are no rules.
Opening yourself up completely to someone, trusting them with your heart, puts you in a vulnerable position. A place where many of us have been hurt emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Corinthians had it wrong on every point. Love isn't patient or kind. It envies and boasts and doesn't care who gets mowed down. It angers, it is irritable, it keeps record of every transgression against it, and good God, it fails. Sure as a face ages, love fails.
But opening yourself up to love also has the potential for unimaginable happiness.
I don't know. I can imagine quite a bit.
You'll get it. She is the cleverest, most shocking, most alive woman I've ever met.
I have never seen anyone so happy as he when he was with you.
Fostering a relationship can be difficult.
Are you married, Mr. Poirot?
I have not that felicity.
Which felicity do you have?
But it can also be healing and empowering. The greatest potential always carries with it the greatest risk. There are many casualties of love along the river of life. Some who have loved and lost, some who have been forbidden from love, and others with deep wounds.
You have a choice still. You can ruin this life or begin a new one. It may not be the life that you imagined, but perhaps it will be the life that God intended.
In questioning each member of the wedding party, looking for motives, he is necessarily also analyzing their relationships, love and passions.
When she married Simon, I actually thought about ending my own life.
Love is on trial, and Poirot is the judge. He hides his grief behind more than just his mustache.
He is obsessive, is vain, is smug, is lonely for a reason.
Jackie arriving late and uninvited to the boat, while the rest of the wedding party are at the temple, is a visual metaphor for her attempt to bypass the customs and established rituals and hitchhike or even hijack her way into heaven and happily ever after.
Love is far too important to trust to God.
As the bridegroom cometh, the foolish Jackie thinks that she can steal
Small world.
not only the bride's dowry, but also the bride, and replace her with herself while the festivities are ongoing.
You could never understand what people will do for love.
Poirot, of course, solves the murder and explains it to everyone in attendance. But the biggest surprise comes when Jackie then kills herself and the man that she loves, and they die in each other's arms, much like Antony and Cleopatra. A final expression of their love as they literally and figuratively travel into the afterlife. The honeymoon is over, and everyone leaves. But the biggest mystery has yet to be solved, the mystery of love. But even Poirot
I have my cases. I have my books.
is changed from the experience and seems ready, shaving off his mustache, to finally let the past go and try again at love. Will it work out? We don't know. And honestly, it doesn't matter. This is a movie. What really matters is what we do with our relationships. Do we look at our relationships as temporary, using people to get what we want? Or do we look at the big picture, the eternal picture, and try, as the song says, to have more love and more understanding every day of our lives?
You have a choice still.
And that is the moral of this story. What's your favorite murder mystery? Let me know in the comments below. One of mine is Knives Out. And if you haven't seen that video, I'd recommend watching my take on that next. Thanks a lot. See you next time.